In the 1948 United States presidential elections held on November the 2nd, 1948, the issue was whether the Republicans could, for the first time in 20 years, manage to win the presidential elections. After all, the 1932, 1936, 1940, and 1944 presidential elections had been won by the late President Franklin Roosevelt, who had then died apparently of natural causes in April 1945. He had been succeeded by Vice President Harry Truman, who had then, without any significant opposition, won the Democratic presidential candidacy. However, especially because the Republicans had managed to capture both houses of Congress in the midterm elections of November 1946, and because there was a sense that many Americans wanted a change of the ruling party at the federal level, even many journalists covering politics believed that the Republican candidate, Governor Thomas Dewey of New York, would be elected president. And famously, the Chicago Tribune newspaper even printed a headline, "Dewey defeats Truman." And big was the surprise of those who believed that Dewey would indeed defeat Truman when the opposite happened. Also, in these elections, many voting age African Americans could not vote because of the lingering racial segregation and similar anti-democratic policies of most southern states of the United States. President Truman, whose running mate was Alben Barkley, won the presidential election with about 24,179,000 votes, or 49.6% of the total, carrying or winning 28 states out of 48 with 303 electors. Governor Dewey had to settle for the second place, just like he had to do in 1944 when challenging the incumbent President Roosevelt. He received 21,991,000 votes, or 45.1% of the total, carried 16 states with 189 votes. The popular, progressive, and liberal Republican governor of California, Earl Warren, who would later become the U.S. Supreme Court's Chief Justice, was his running mate. Strom Thurmond, the governor of South Carolina, who was then a segregationist and conservative Democrat, he would later become a Republican and would have a very long career in the United States Senate, was the so-called Dixiecrat or states' rights candidate, presidential candidate. He managed to win 4 states with 39 electors and some 176,000 American citizens, or 2.4% of the participants voted for him. And the 4th candidate was then former Vice President and Commerce Secretary Henry Wallace. Who received 1,157,000 votes. He was the Progressive or American Labor presidential candidate. Yeah, that meant 2.4% of the votes. However, he did not carry any states. Truman would therefore serve another term as U.S. president, this one in his own right, and would retire at the end of that term in January 1953.